Nicholas "Nicky" Bianco, March 21, 1932, November 14, 1994, was an American mobster who became an influential member of the patriarchal crime family of New England. Biography: Bianco was born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. In later years, he lived with his wife and children in Barrington, Rhode Island. He sent his children to private schools and one of his sons later became a lawyer. As a young man, Bianco moved to Brooklyn, New York to work for the Colombo crime family. In the early 1960s, the Colombo family was being torn apart by an internal war between boss Joseph Magliocco and soldier Joe Gallo. In 1963, Bianco asked Patriarca boss Raymond L.S. Patriarca if Patriarca could serve as mediator between the two factions. Patriarca agreed and also inducted Bianco, then just a Colombo associate, as a made man in the patriarchal family. Bianco continued to serve as a liaison to the Colombos. In 1982, Bianco allegedly participated in the murder of Anthony Mirabella, a patriarchal associate. Mirabella had incurred disfavor with the family because he was hard to control. Mirabella was shot to death in a Providence restaurant. In July 1984, the patriarchal family entered the period of instability with the death of boss Raymond L.S. Patriarca. After a period of jockeying, his son Raymond Patriarca, Jr. became the new official boss. However, the younger Patriarca was not a strong boss. The family would be controlled over the next few years by a succession of powerful underbosses, including William "Wild Guy" Grasso. It also signaled a growing rivalry between the patriarcha mobsters in Boston, Massachusetts, and the family leadership in Providence, as well as friction with mobsters in Springfield and Worcester. In 1985, Bianco was indicted on charges of conspiracy and aiding and abetting in the 1982 Mirabella murder. However, soon after the trial began, the judge dismissed all charges against Bianco due to lack of evidence. Boss: on the 16th of June 1989, underboss "Wild Guy" Grasso was murdered by members of the Springfield faction during a power struggle between Providence and Boston, which wanted more control over the family. The death of Grasso undermined Raymond Patriarca, Jr. and Bianco essentially took control of the Providence-based family operations. Jr. would be tried in 1991 for the murder of Grasso. By 1990, Bianco would be de facto boss of the family, superseding Jr. In 1989, Jr. attended a patriarcha ceremony in a Massachusetts house in which 4 mob associates were admitted to the family. Unknown to the participants, the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) had placed electronic surveillance devices in the room. Jr.'s presence at this ceremony served as evidence that he was a member of the family in an upcoming indictment. In March 1990, Bianco and other top patriarchal family members were indicted on charges of conspiracy to murder, loan sharking, illegal gambling, wire fraud and interstate travel in aid of racketeering. With the aid of government witness John Castagna, Bianco was convicted on August 8, 1991, of 2 counts of racketeering in Hartford, Connecticut. On November 25, 1991, Bianco was sentenced to 11.5 years in federal prison. On November 16, 1994, Nicholas Bianco died of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease at the Federal Medical Center, FMC, in Springfield, Missouri. References. Further reading: Succession of Power, The Providence Mob, Succession, True TV Crime Library, Rob Selwyn. 5 Families, The Rise, Decline, and Resurgence of America's Most Powerful Mafia Empires. New York, St. Martin's Press, 2005. ISBN 0-312-30094-8.